Hi everyone, welcome to Yum Paleo. Today what I'm going to be making is a roasted herb chicken yum. So it's a variation on the traditional roast. We're going to pack some herbs into the cavity of the chicken and also all over the top. And these are all really nice fresh herbs. Cool, so what we have to go with our roast chicken today are some delicious veggies. We have 5 beetroot which have been peeled and then chopped in half, 2 sweet potatoes or kumara as we call them in New Zealand, and I've just peeled them and chopped them into quarters. We have half of a pumpkin. It goes a long way, so you probably only need about half or even a quarter, and I've just roughly chopped that up into small pieces. I've left the outside of the pumpkin skin on to have while it's roasting, but obviously you don't eat that skin. Lastly, with the veggies, I have 4 small brown onions that I've just peeled and chopped in half. And then we come to our dressing and our stuffing for the chicken. So what's going to go inside the cavity of the chicken is 1 lemon that's been cut into quarters, about 5 cloves of garlic that I've just peeled and chopped in half, and I've got here some fresh thyme sprigs and some rosemary sprigs. So that's all what I'm going to be putting inside the chicken. I've got the chicken here in the roasting dish and have just put some olive oil on the bottom there just to make sure it doesn't stick to the bottom. I'm also going to put olive oil over top of the chicken, just rubbing that into the skin to make sure that that gets all nice and crispy. And then after the olive oil has gone over that skin, I'm going to add half of this mixture, which is actually about 2 teaspoons worth of chopped rosemary, basil and sage. So that's going to be really delicious going over the top of the chicken. Also just added 1 teaspoon of sea salt in there, just to give it a wee bit of a salty taste, but not too much salt obviously, as salt in excess isn't healthy for you. Cool, so we'll get started with the chicken. Put in the lemon to start with. Now if you have any string, you can actually tie the legs together of the chicken while it's in the oven, and that just helps to keep all of your stuffing in there while it's cooking. Next I'm going to add the fresh rosemary and the thyme, and lastly our garlic cloves. Cool. So why we put that stuffing in the bird is just to pretty much flavour it from the inside out as well as from the outside in. So that will just burst with flavour as it's cooking away. Alright, next I'm just going to add a dash of olive oil over the skin of the chicken and just rub in the olive oil so it lightly coats the whole chicken skin. Cool. And now we want to just add about half of our herb and salt mixture. The rest of the mixture will go later on our veggies, which don't go in the oven until about halfway through the cooking time of the chicken. So just lightly pour that over the chicken, and again I'll be just mixing that in with my hands. Just make sure you get that evenly spread out over the skin of the chicken. And it smells delicious already. You can really smell that rosemary coming through. Great, that's pretty well spread out there. So all we've got left to do now is just add up to a cup of water to the chicken. This is just to make sure that as it's cooking, it stays nice and moist in that pan and puts moisture all through the skin of the chicken and through that meat. So I'm going to add a whole glass of water there. About halfway through the cook time, which for this chicken will be an hour and a half, you do want to cook a chicken for about half an hour per 500 grams or per around 1 pound of weight. So we're cooking this one for an hour and a half today, but around halfway through that cook time we will be stopping to baste the chicken. So scoop out some of that juice and pour it back over the top of the chicken just to make sure it stays all nice and moist and juicy. And at that point as well, near the 45-minute mark, we will also be putting our vegetables into the oven as well. Cool, so another thing I forgot to mention was that I've actually preheated the oven on fan bake at 240 degrees or 480 degrees Fahrenheit. So that is quite high, but we're only going to have the oven on that temperature for 5 minutes, and it will really help the skin to crisp up to start with, and then we'll turn it down to 200 and then finally to 180 when we put it back at that 45-minute mark. Cool, so I'll get the chicken in the oven now. I'll turn down that temperature at the 5-minute mark, and I'll see you back here in 45 minutes to put our veggies in. See you then. Hey everyone, welcome back. It's been about 45 minutes now that our chicken's been in the oven, so it's time to take that out and just baste it. Remember to put the juices all over back over the chicken, and then we'll be putting the veggies in the oven with the chicken. Cool, so get the chicken out of the oven. So it's just sizzling away there. It's been cooking really nicely. It's nice and brown on top. Our herbs are still all over the top of the chicken, and we've still got a bit of sauce at the bottom, which is great. So what I'm going to do is just scoop up that sauce at the bottom and just drizzle it back over the chicken. You can really smell all of those herbs coming through, which is great. So basting is making sure that the chicken skin doesn't dry out too much and that all the flesh is kept nice and moist while it's roasting. What I might actually do before I put the chicken back in the oven is just add another half glass of water to make sure that that stays moist for the last 45 minutes because it has evaporated off a wee bit. Cool, and that goes straight back in the oven. We'll do that now. And we're actually going to turn the temperature down to 180 degrees Celsius now, which is 360 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's just for the remaining half of the cook time. Cool, now it's time to do our veggies. So what I've done is just brushed a tray here with olive oil. Now we're going to transfer our veggies onto that tray. So lots of nice colours here with our veggies. We've got the rich reddy purple of the beetroot, the pale yellow of the sweet potato, and the orange of our pumpkin. So to spread these all around, it doesn't matter if they're layered up a wee bit, that's fine. And onion, lastly, just place them on top wherever they fit. Cool. Now what we need to do is just drizzle a bit more of that olive oil over the top, mix it around so the veggies are lightly coated, and add the remaining half of our herb and salt mix. So just get your fingers in there and give the veggies a bit of a mix around. until you feel they've all got a light coating of the olive oil. Cool, I think that's all pretty well done. So now I'll just spoon that mixture over the top, spreading it round. And again, you just want to give that a wee bit of a mix with your fingers. Try to spread all of those herbs around all the veggies. And that's all ready to go in. So these will need 45 minutes as well. We will be leaving them in the oven a tiny bit longer than the chicken, because when we take the chicken out, we'll be putting some foil over it to start with, just to let that heat and set it on the bench, because it will still be cooking for a wee while inside. And then we'll serve that with our veggies. So I'll put that in the oven. And we'll see you back here in about 40 minutes time to get the chicken out of the oven. See you then. Hey everyone, our chicken's been in for an hour and a half now. It's time to take it out. So we'll just get that from the oven. And we're just going to leave our veggies in there for a further 5 minutes. So that chicken's done. It's all nice and brown on top, and it's been cooking for the whole hour and a half. It smells delicious. Now, if you're not quite sure if your chicken is done, you can just insert a knife through the back thigh, right down the middle of the flesh, and watch the juices that run out of that. And if they're still pink, your chicken needs longer. If it comes out clear, then your chicken is all done. Cool, so what I'm going to do with that chicken is just put foil over it and leave that to sit on the bench for another 5 minutes until our veggies are ready. Because our chicken is actually still cooking away at the moment, right in the middle of the chicken. So we just want to keep in all that heat, all that yum flavour, and leave that there for 5 minutes until our veggies are ready. So I'll see you back here in 5 minutes time. We'll get those veggies out and then it'll be all ready to serve. See you then. We're up to the final stage of our roast chicken. That is taking our veggies out of the oven and removing the foil. So I'll turn the oven off now. Oh, they look delicious. So they look like they're nicely browned on top and quite soft in the middle, which is what you want. Oh, and our chickens are ready to serve as well. So that's all ready to go. Just carve up your chicken, serve that with a selection of roast veggies, and enjoy. See you back here next time.